All right, hello and welcome. My name is Jamie Copes. I'm a manager of tutor training and digital literacy for Wisconsin Literacy. And every month I offer this webinar or this workshop, Digital Tools for Teaching. And the topic changes monthly. So this month we're talking about teaching math and tools that you can use for that. Here is the agenda. I want to demo 3 free tools. One is called Desmos, one is called Get Real Math Videos, and the third one is called Polypad. After I demo those, I'd like to give you a little chance to explore and ask questions, and then I'll show you 3 free bonus tools. If you are joining this webinar live, I will follow up with an email in which you'll have a handout that gives links to all of these tools that I mentioned today. If you are watching this on YouTube via video, you should find a link to that handout in the description of the video. Before we get started, I just want to start with a little caveat. I am a manager, like I said, of tutor training and digital literacy. And in my previous role, I was a teacher in high school, but I taught English. So math is not my area of expertise, and it's quite likely that I might use the wrong words for some math concepts. So I appreciate your patience with me. Okay, so that first tool that I mentioned is called Desmos, and there's a couple versions of it. So first we have Desmos Classroom, and this is free interactive math lessons that are built with slides. They have pre-made lessons that you can search by topic, or you can create your own slides. Like I said, those lessons are searchable by topic or grade level. Grade level might not necessarily pertain if you're teaching adults, but sometimes we know that what adults are studying in math also corresponds to a grade standard in the K-12 world. The teacher view, so if you're a tutor or an instructor, you would go to teacher.desmos.com. And students will end up going to student.desmos.com to access your lessons. So that was Desmos Classroom, and then Desmos.com is just free math tools. So I'll show you the difference here. Desmos.com will give you a graphing calculator, scientific calculator, a 4-function calculator, and then a matrix geometry and 3D tools. So I encourage you to explore those. And even if you just go to Desmos.com and you are looking for the teacher or the student classroom versions, they do have links here as well. So I'll just quickly show you what that looks like. The teachers for Desmos Classroom. I'm signed in right now, so this is sort of what a signed in view looks like. And the featured collections is what you could go to search by grade level. So you can see it starts with kindergarten, goes up through high school. And all of these things are free when they're in the collections. If I go back, here it is. If I go back, this is the part that will not be free. So if you go to explore our curriculum, Amplify Desmos Math, there is a fee for that, but everything up here is free. Students get this view. And so it does ask them to sign into an account, but an account is not needed if you are teaching the lesson and you give them a code. So they would just enter the code here. So I wanted to demo that for you with a lesson on line of fit on a scatter plot. So this is a 6th grade math standard. And it's a lesson I found within the collections. So this was free. And I am going to, I put it in my collections now, so because I'm signed in my account. So now I have the option to assign it to students, but also to teach it live. So if I click on Teach Live, what happens is the students get a code here. So Nick, if you'd like to join, you can go to student.desmos.com and click in this code. I can
All right,
also
will do.
share. I'll also just share it in the chat if that's easier. Should take you right there.
Desmos. StudentDesmos.com.
Yes.
Okay. CKHT84.
All right, and now for those of you watching on the video or just watching my screen, I want to point out that the first feature that I like is that I have made students who join anonymous. So if you've joined, you get a name of a notable mathematician, but your name will not show up here. The other options that I have for teaching are a pace option. So I could restrict if my students are joining and I don't want them to jump too far ahead, I could restrict them, for example, to just slide 4. And then we'll make sure that if I'm teaching multiple students, all students are at slide 4 before we move on. I can also have students synced to me so they stay right where I am. And then I can pause the instruction as well. What you're seeing up here in this tab on my screen is just a summary of the whole lesson. The teacher view looks like this. And then if you are joined with the student view, you should see the very first slide is a warm up. So the question is, which one doesn't belong? And you're invited to select an answer. Want to point out too, on both the student and the teacher tab, Desmos offers you some teaching tips. So there's teacher moves here that I can look for. And it will help me sort of explain what's going on in this slide. There's some sample responses, so I know what it is I'm looking for from my students. And then student supports might be especially helpful if you're teaching multilingual or English learners. It does give you some sentence frames to help support their responses. All right, so now I can see that one student has answered and they have answered A. All right, and then slide 2.
Oh, there I go. Whoa, this is neat.
Yeah, so I'll show the folks who are watching on video what students see. You're going to be able to take these 2 dots and you're going to be able to move them to create a line of fit. Switch back to teacher mode to see that one student has answered.
Oh, does it
And
show you it in real time?
it does, yes.
Oh.
Hi, Maria, welcome. We are just trying out Desmos Classroom. And I put the link in the chat if you'd like to join. Otherwise, you can just watch my screen. I'm showing the teacher view, what I see, and then Nick has joined as a student, so I can see that he has answered here. And then we'll go on to slide 3. We won't do this whole lesson, but I'll see. So now I can show students in my class, my live class. Here are what other people have responded. And we'll skip to slide 4. The student view is this. Create different lines to see how the score on the meter changes. So now we're getting some feedback about whether our line of fit is a good one. I want that meter to be in the green. So students really have an opportunity to be interactive with Desmos Classroom. And then there's a question that prompts you, describe how to get a high score on the meter. Right. And then as you can see on my teacher tab, I can see in real time what students are responding there. Love it. I'm going to skip to slide 5. The student version will say, decide and defend. Binta and Marco each sketched a line of fit on this scatter plot. Binta says, my line is a good fit because half of the points are on each side of the line. And Marco says, my line is a good fit because it passes through the leftmost point and the rightmost point. Whose line is a good fit for the data? So up here we can click on Binta's line and see. And then we can click on Marco's line and see his. And then we have to decide whose line is the best fit.
Should I get one wrong to see how it shows up on your end?
Sure, go ahead. That's so I can see that your response was Binta's line. In sample responses, the explanations will vary, but then I get Binta's line does not follow the dots. Marco's line needs to be shifted up a bit. Binta's line is increasing, but the data is decreasing. Marco's line isn't close to as many of the points as another line could be. So it seems like perhaps the best response would be neither.
Mm-hmm.
All right, slide 6, the student view. Drag the points to create a line of fit for the data from the previous screen. So now we're trying to get a better line of fit than Binta and Marco.
Oh, it gives me a little note at the bottom. You have the most precise line in the class. 2 little trophies.
Wow, that's great to know that you get feedback like that. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing that. Awesome. All right. Then I think I will jump for the sake of our time. I will jump to slide. I'll jump to slide 9. Okay, so this is sort of a synthesis and a show what you know. So the student version will say which scatter plot has the best line of fit. Okay, now that we've been through some feedback on good lines of fit, and then you select one. And then the teacher version, I can see that one student has chosen B. And the answer is B. Nice work. All right, so I'm going to, I can pause this lesson. I can just close out of it. If I pause it, I know that students should not really be able to move or do much else in it. but that was a demo of Desmos Classroom, sort of a live version of that. Any questions or comments about this tool before we move on to the next one?
Nope.
Nick, had you used this before?
Desmos Classroom? No. I have used just Desmos in general for mostly graphing more complex functions.
Got it. All right. So the next tool is Get Real Math Video Library. These are free workplace math videos. So I really like this tool because they take math concepts and they put them in the context of the workplace. Oops. Slide is not advancing. There we go. They are created by Northeast Wisconsin Manufacturing Alliance, and they are searchable by topic and title. They also include with each of the videos lesson plans and worksheets that you can use with students. So I am going to demo by just showing you one video. They have nice sort of provocative titles as well. So what does good tasting coffee have to do with math? I'm going to make sure that I'm sharing my sound so we can hear the video. But I'll point out that before I play the video, here is where you would download the lesson plan that goes with it. And then you can see that it does explain how it aligns to Common Core math content standards. So we are in a 6th grade math, and I tried to choose a video that sort of relates to a scatter plot and a line of fit.
Thanks for being here. I'm glad you wanted to learn more about our flow rate tests.
Yes, when you offered, we were so excited to come and see what it was like.
So, what are you doing right now?
Well, I've taken 10 paper samples from 10 different rolls. I'm testing how fast coffee flows through them. Too fast and the coffee won't have time to brew. It'll be watery and flavorless. Too slow and it won't keep up with the water. The coffee grounds will overflow into the coffee pot, giving you gritty coffee. So we have to make sure they're exactly what our customer specifies.
Okay, so where do we start?
First, we start with an average. So what was the average flow rate for all of these lots? Is the average within our customer's specifications?
So I'll just point out that you get notified here that there's a break, and so those breaks correspond to the worksheet and the lesson plan. And so here's where you could pause the video to let students do the math first.
To get an average, you total them all and then divide by the number of lots. So 8,708.24 divided by 10, or 870.824 milliliters per minute.
Very good. That is the number within the average given to us by our customers. So everything looks great. Now, what is the range for all of these lots?
A range is the difference between the highest lot and the lowest lot, right?
Yes.
So that's 937.12 minus 770.5, which equals 166.62.
Really? Are you sure you did the math right there? That seems kind of high.
Right, the difference between the upper and the lower specifications is only 165. That probably can't fit within our spec.
Well, that's the right number.
Huh, okay, something is off here. Let's go through each lot one by one. Do they fall within specifications? Remember, the upper spec is 940 milliliters per minute, and the lower is 775 per minute.
No, lot 9 is off.
Okay, that makes sense. How far is it out?
It's 770.5 milliliters per minute, which is pretty close to the lower specification of 775.
Our customers don't want pretty close. Let's plot out these numbers on a graph. I think they will help us see what's going on.
So I'm going to pause it there and show you how you can use our next tool to plot out these numbers on a graph. So the next tool I want to talk about is called Polypad. And Polypad is a free math-based digital whiteboard. I think it is really valuable for the manipulatives that it offers. So you can put shapes on the whiteboard, you can put graphs, clocks, dominoes, dice, coins, all sorts of things right on the whiteboard. You don't have to draw them by hand or anything like that. They just appear. And it is free and you can use it without an account, but if you want to save your work, you will need to sign up for an account. One of the great things is it integrates with Desmos Classroom. So if you build a lesson slide in Desmos Classroom, you can insert a Polypad whiteboard right into that slide for students to use. So I'm going to demo by showing you that we could create a scatter plot and a line of fit for that data that we got in the video about coffee filters. So first I'll go to Polypad and I'll open an empty Polypad just to show you what that looks like. And on the left, you can see I have lots of tools that fall under these categories. So geometry, numbers, fractions, algebra, probability and data, and games and application. Probability and data is where I'm going to be able to create a chart for my scatter plot. I just want to show you too that you can find playing cards in here and dice. So this is my chart. I just click it and it appears and then I can drag it anywhere on the board. I know that that data, there were 10 lots, so I'll just start putting that in. And then I'll just put in a few points from that video. So it was 875, 851, and 865.2. All right, and so once I fill in this chart, if I click on it again, I'm given these options at the bottom. So one of them is to create a scatter plot or a column chart, an area chart, a pie chart. I can copy this, I can delete it, and I can also get a tutorial, so an explanation of what to do with this. So if I just click scatter plot, I get the scatter plot. It creates it for me. You can see that it did not put 4 through 10 on the 0 line here, so it didn't graph those for me, but it has started to. If I wanted to create a line of fit, I can use these tools here. So I can hand draw that line of fit with the pen tool. I can also get a line here that has points on it. And I can change the color of it. That's a little bit hard to see right now because it's in black, but if I click over here, I get colors. So let's make that a red line, and then I can put it right here, or really anywhere I want. This is one way to use Polypad with the sort of the lesson or the theme that we're working on here today, which is a scatter plot and a line of fit. I do want to show you how it integrates with Desmos Classroom and give you a chance to do your own scatter plot with this data. So I created a slide in Desmos Classroom in my account, and I just put a Polypad in it. So again, I'm going to click on Teach. And if you'd like to join, I'll copy this link and put it in the chat. For those of you who are joining me live, you would just go to student.desmos.com and put in this code. And again, I'm in the teacher dashboard. And this is what I see as a teacher, but if I go to the student tab, students see that I already put a polypad in there and I put the whole data set in there. So really all I'm asking you to do if you're joining me here is to go down to the bottom. If you hover over it and click scatter plot. Once you've created that scatter plot, then you can select the line tool. You can change the color if you'd like. And then you can create a line of fit. And what you should see then, and what the video will point out if we finish that video, is that lot 9 is the one that does not fit on that line of fit. All right, and I can see that I have a student who's joined, who's created that scatter plot and is working on drawing the line of fit. I think I'll pause this lesson here. It might be helpful if I just demo for you how I created that slide or how you can create any of your own lessons in Desmos Classroom. So I am at the home page. I am signed into my account, so that's something you'll need to do. It's free. And then I'm going to go to Custom Activities. From Custom Activities, I can click here on Create a New Activity. I just need to name it. And then I choose anyone with the link can view or only you can view. Typically, I choose this so that I know students can access it. I can give it a description and then I click Create New Activity. I'm fairly new to this. I don't use Desmos a lot, specifically because I don't teach math. But just with the digital skills that I have found it fairly easy to use. So you can insert a lot of different things into your slide. You can add a title or instructions up here. And here is where I could insert a polypad. So I just click polypad. I can do full screen or partial screen. What I like about Desmos is there's always an opportunity to learn more. So it's going to walk you through how to build these things. So if I click on full screen polypad, there it is. And I could just leave it like this, or you saw I already loaded the chart for students. So I could go to probability and data. I could put that chart in. And I could enter the data that I want so that students could just create that scatter plot and draw the line of fit. I can preview up here in the top right corner, and then when I'm ready, I can publish. Once it's published, I can assign. Or I could do a single session code, which is how I've been sharing this during the webinar. So if I do a single session code, I can make it available for 48 hours, 2 weeks, 1 year, etc., and create an invite code. All right, so I want to pause here. I've demoed 3 different tools: Desmos Classroom, the Get Real Math videos, and Polypad. I want to give you an opportunity to ask any questions you have, but also an opportunity to explore these tools. So if you're joining me live, I'm going to put links to them in the chat. But are there any questions or comments right now?
Not this time.
Okay. Okay, anything you have noticed in exploring these, at least one of these three tools, or any questions that you have?
Amy,
Mhm.
students, they will have to create an account, correct?
So you can use Polypad without an account. You just can't save any of your work. You can use the Get Real Math without an account. And the student Desmos does not require an account if you as a teacher, if you have an account and you give students a code to join your lesson.
And the teachers need the account if we want to save it.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. The account is free. I just used like my Gmail to sign up for it.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions or observations?
Oh, just mess around on Polypad, and the animations and things are super, super smooth. So this is a really good resource.
Great. I'm glad you think so. I was really impressed with the coins. Like there are American coins, there are euros that you could just pop them on the whiteboard and manipulate them. Okay, so just to wrap up, I want to show you three bonus tools. I won't spend nearly as much time with them, but they are linked on the handout that you'll receive. So one is called Cool Math. And you can see that it offers lots of options for calculators and converters and under practice, I believe it was, there are some games. So if you're ever looking for something sort of quick, no prep, fun way to get students online and playing with math, there's a game section under practice. And again, that's coolmath.com. This one, Fraction Talks, is kind of unique. It is basically just lots of different images, all dealing with shapes and the concept of fractions, and they're meant to prompt mathematical discussions with students. So they are under all of these categories here. There's a nice how-to tab, and in the classroom, suggestions for how to use this resource, fractiontalks.com. And then finally, Math is Fun. Again, sorted by topic, dictionaries, worksheets, and games online that you can use with students. If you're joining me live, I'll just repeat that I will send you a follow-up email with a handout that includes links to all of these resources, as well as some tutorials, so videos to show you how to get started with Desmos and Polypad, and the other tools here that I mentioned. I'm going to take a break in June from digital tools, but I will come back in July. So we have a new topic in July for digital tools for teaching, which will be typing. Lots of great free resources out there to help students learn typing. So that will be July 17th from 11 to noon, same time. You can register at our tutor training page. I'll also send a link in the follow-up email.